Next, the Middle East. It's understood there is an understanding that will lead to the end of the Middle East war. Or in Donald Trump's words, the deal's done. Mediator Pakistan announced on Sunday that the United States and Iran had agreed to an immediate and permanent termination of military operations, but the text of their peace deal has yet to be released. An official signing is being arranged, we understand, for Friday, and the Strait of Hormuz, Trump is promising, will be fully opened. The US and Israel, we remind you, started the war on February the 28th with their bombardment of Iran. While Trump and his allies are trying to couch this all as a victory, the fact of the matter is the Iranian leadership is now younger and perhaps more radicalized than before. Let's bring in for some broader analysis our correspondent in Tehran, Reza Sayah, who's joining us live. Reza, as always, great to see you. Can you clarify for us, please? Is this going to take place? Is this deal going to be signed? Can you clarify, please?
Yeah, well, according to some, it's already been digitally signed today. There's going to be a signing ceremony on Friday, this according to Tehran and Washington, the Trump administration, the foreign ministry. So if you go by what both Tehran and Washington is saying, everything's moving forward as planned, and this memorandum of understanding is going to be signed on Friday. It's no surprise that Tehran is presenting this signing as a victory, as a triumph. One of the headlines in a state media outlet saying the signing of this memorandum of understanding by Washington is a manifesto, in other words, a declaration by Washington that they were defeated by Iran in this conflict. So Tehran is celebrating, but they're not excessively celebrating. Whatever celebrating they're doing, it is tempered, and I think that speaks to the caution with which they're approaching this signing, this process, and the mistrust they still have of Washington. Remember, Tehran remembers 2015 when there was a deal, the JCPOA. The Trump administration in his first term ripped it up. They remember that over the past year, on two occasions, while they were negotiating, U.S. forces and Israeli forces attacked Iran. So the impression is that Tehran is not going to be surprised if things fall apart in the coming days, and they're ready for it if they need to respond with a military strike. The impression is that they're ready for it, but they also say that this is the reasonable, logical move, the signing of this memorandum of understanding to establish some security, to end the hostilities, and then move forward.
It's understood, Reza, and again, you will clarify, I know, that the Strait of Hormuz would be open toll-free for a period of 60 days, I believe I read. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But where does it go from there? Because obviously before February the 28th, this was a waterway that could be used. Now, of course, going forward, is it going to be somewhere which is subject to a really high price?
Yeah, first of all, it's important to stress that no one has been able to independently verify the contents of this memorandum of understanding. There's been some reports of what's in it, and some of those reports indicate that for these 60 days, the length of this memorandum of understanding, that commercial vessels are going to be able to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without paying a fee. But according to state media and Iranian leaders, in that memorandum of understanding, it is highlighted. That's one of the elements that after the 60-day period, that Washington has agreed to acknowledge that the authority overseeing the Strait of Hormuz moving forward will be the Omani leadership and the Iran leadership. And again, this is one of the reasons that many analysts that see that Iran has come out on top of this conflict with securing the Strait of Hormuz as a security leverage. And if anything goes wrong from Tehran's perspective, if Washington doesn't fulfill its obligations, they know moving forward that they can once again shut down the Strait of Hormuz and make it economically painful for Washington and the global economy.
Reza, you mentioned the two occasions when negotiations were going on and airstrikes were then carried out on Iran, June last year and, of course, February the 28th this year. You've mentioned this almost new control, but of course it might have been there all along, this new control of the Strait of Hormuz. Trump is going to call what happens this week, whatever happens, a victory. But is the reality that Tehran is not exactly defeated and perhaps is a little bit surer of its footing than before?
Well, if you talk to a lot of observers, talk to a lot of analysts, they say there's plenty of signs and indications that you can use to claim that Iran is a victor. They have the Strait of Hormuz. They're going to be able to use it as a security lever moving forward if Washington doesn't fulfill its obligations. They put on display to the world their powerful missile program, and they still have that 440 kilograms of highly enriched uranium. And then you look at Washington, what their aims were going in to this conflict on February 28th. The regime change, it didn't happen. The ending of Iran's nuclear program, it didn't happen. The ending of the missile program, it didn't happen. And the aim of cutting off Iran's ties to regional proxies, that hasn't happened either. And all these issues, these big issues, are to be addressed if this memorandum of understanding holds. And this is something to remember. It's been so complicated getting to this point. A lot of people forget that this memorandum of understanding is not binding. It's simply establishing the framework, the roadmap with which these two sides have agreed to negotiate those bigger issues. And that's another mountain to climb down the road.
Reza, as always, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Reza Sayah, our correspondent there in Tehran, watching all developments for us. Thank you, Reza, once more.